Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to tonight's Monday night web training. My name is Eric Lichter, and my wife, Anne-Marie, and I live in Columbus, Ohio, and we've been involved in Advocare in one way or another for about 6 years. We have four awesome children, and prior to Advocare, I was a college football strength conditioning coach and also a previous small business owner and a personal trainer, and my wife was a part-time swim coach and a full-time mom. And we are now both full-time parents working from home, and we're truly experiencing freedom and significance for our family and certainly for others, through Advocare's powerful vehicle. And, now what I used to, put in a 65-hour a week on average work week for over 15 years, I now earn on a monthly basis triple what I did, and I put in an average of 12 hours a week. And it's not necessarily about the money, but what am I doing with those 53 hours that I'm not, working anymore? And the key is that those 53 hours are going into my family and really into the life that we want. So that's been great for us, and we love the products in our family, and we've used them now for 6 years. And it's through the amazing products of Advocare that we're able to reach so many and help them attain their fitness and their performance related goals. And our job as leaders in Advocare is really to introduce products to people and ensure that they get world class results. And if you want to grow Advocare to a point of financial significance, whatever that number may be in income for you and your family, then you must also be committed to helping teammates introduce products to people and ensure that they get world class results. And we get paid very well to do that. We get paid very well to communicate and to support and to coach and to ensure success for those who are taking the products. And here's the great thing. We don't have to worry about formulating them, making them safe, finding the endorsers, building the brand, testing them, and so on and so on. Okay, the Advocare company does all that, and it's brilliant and it's simple. And it's there for you to seize if you so desire. So I want to provide training tonight, guys, on products and their appropriate and possible uses for athletes of all ages and level of skill. Okay, and I know a little bit about that from my background. And so I just want to cover some things, quickly that most of you are familiar with, but I'm sure we have a few new distributors that are on the training. And so, just covering what sets Advocare apart from other nutritional companies throughout the world is the credibility. It's the commitment to quality and safety and the science that goes into the products. Advocare goes much further than any other nutritional company in the industry, period, to ensure, those things, to ensure safety and trust and transparency. So I want to cover three things on this slide that you guys see in a little bit more depth because I think it's super important. And I'm going to go right to the middle there and where you see our Scientific Medical Advisory Board. And, this is why we have a world-class nutritional company, because we have a world-class scientific and medical advisory board. These guys and gals are the best of the best, and they're tremendously influential. And, the board is made up of people like Dr. Bill Kramer, who you see there, who is so respected in my field in sports training and nutrition. And, people like Dr. Stanley Dudrick, who is a world-renowned famous surgeon and has influenced and changed, nutrition and medicine probably more than anyone over the last 100 years. So it's a very powerful group, and, they're real and they love Advocare, and they are an external board that formulates our products. Advocare has a internal research and development team with tremendous expertise and knowledge, but this is an external board not paid by Advocare, and most of these guys and gals have been involved in Advocare from the beginning, going on 21 years. And so this makes it very simple to introduce products to people. We don't know what they know. We're not, experts. They are. And I know all of them, and they're awesome and so prestigious. Okay, and then at the bottom there, you see something called the Sports Advisory Council. And this is another external board within Advocare, and it's comprised of top strength and conditioning coaches and athletic trainers, and these are also a very knowledgeable and professionally esteemed group. I'm probably the least esteemed of that group, as I still am a member of that group, and that's how I started with Advocare when I was at Ohio State. But these people on this board are very knowledgeable, and they're in the field. They're actually giving feedback as to the product use in the field with athletes and people that are training very hard and with their athletes. And in most cases, people on the Sports Advisory Council, their universities are using the product. That's the trade-off for, as all of these mostly employees of either a university or organization. That's the trade-off. And then the third thing I want to draw to your attention, which is right there at the top, is informed choice. And this is a really a third party or an external group that we utilize. It's independent, so it's not in Advocare at arm's length. It's an independent group, and they test all the products and certify that they're banned substance free. And this is why most of the guys and gals at the bottom in the Sports Advisory Council and the universities can be associated, because not only internally are we so trustworthy and we do such a good job of quality products and production and formulation and through manufacturing and bringing the products into the marketplace, but then after that we use even further means by informed choice, going externally to test for controlled and banned substances. And informed choice, guys, is like I said, is an independent third-party laboratory, and it adheres to a very strict standard. This may not mean anything to you, but it's called the ISO 17025 standard for sports performance supplementation. And that's a very strict standard, and it basically, informed choice has analyzed more samples of banned substances than any lab in the world. So we chose the best. And in simple terms, it just means that we use the most sensitive and highly reliable, lab or standard of testing that exists in the industry. So this is huge. This is what attracts people like the Sports Advisory Council and those strength coaches, and brings universities into a trusting and engaging relationship with an industry that's a little bit untrustworthy, maybe a lot of it untrustworthy, because of some of the bad players that have been involved. And so Advocare's commitment to, the things we just talked about, internally and externally, is what has attracted all this. And we really are a world-class nutritional company that, has attracted, and our products are sought out and used by guys like Drew Brees, probably the NFL, arguably the best quarterback in the NFL, and our national spokesperson. Right there in the middle, that guy who looks all ripped and jacked, that's Rich Froning, a new endorser. And most of our endorsers, all of them except Drew Brees, just get product for their endorsement. Rich is considered the fittest man in the world. He's a 3-time CrossFit champ. That's a pretty rigorous thing there. And Rich has been using Advocare products for a long time, and he has come on board, and that's really big. Jason Witten and so many more like them. It's also attracted college football, college basketball. You can see in the bottom left, most of you guys know that we're involved with the NCAA in college football. We sponsor a bowl game, only nutritional company to do that because of the things that I've just shared with you. FC Dallas, you see our brand on FC Dallas, and we're all over NASCAR. A lot of the drivers love the mental focus and the energy products that help them concentrate, when they're doing what they do. And again, that informed choice check is big, because what we're going to really transition into is performance products that fuel athletes and their needs, and they're quite different than the everyday population, even if they're active. So they're quite different, and that check allows the athlete who's competing and can't have an unfair playing advantage. It allows them to sleep and rest easy at night, knowing that they can trust their products. So let's talk about, just in general, let's make a case for supplementation. And this is all out there. I'm going to stay on the periphery of this, but we know that food is important. Food is not the whole ball game. It's not the end all be all. So this is kind of a triangle that you've seen, that Advocare, that we like to use, because it shows the relationship that supplements play in enhancing fitness and also enhancing the benefits that you get from your food. okay? Because food cannot provide it all. It is far less nutritious than it used to be. It's often changed in the way that it's manufactured or taken from the ground and processed or sprayed with pesticides, insecticides, or preservatives or whatever. So, food is not the whole ball game. And when you're dealing with athletes or very active people, that gap that I'm going to talk about is even larger. So supplements can really help us enhance and digest and absorb more of the critical nutrients we need from our food, and it can fill in those gaps and plug those holes. And supplements can really enhance some appetites or control them, I should say, to help us control some of the things that happen when we overeat or our appetite's too strong. And then on the fitness side, certainly supplements can enhance our endurance, our strength, our power, and how fast we can recover. So they are necessary, very necessary, and with athletes, they're even more necessary. The question is, are you getting them from a reputable source? And so with Advocare, that's what we love about what we have our hands on. So when I talk to people, guys, about, supplementation and this whole triangle and this relationship and how it exists, I often talk about three windows of critical nutrition. And so I put them in a pyramid here, and I like this because I think they go in order of importance. And I think that the first one I'm going to talk about is core nutrition, and that is truly the foundation. I think it's the foundation for everybody, but I'm going to focus on athletes tonight. So core nutrition is kind of what we need daily. Okay, it's what we need every day to lay the foundation, to make sure we don't have any gaps or holes in our body's needs. And I'm going to get more specific on this in a second. But that's the foundation. We need core nutrition. We need critical vitamins, nutrients, minerals, trace minerals. We need these things on a daily basis, and we can run deficient in them, and we obviously can't get them all from food. The second window that we talk about is what I call the performance window. And this is really the window that starts kind of an hour prior to our activity. It could be our training, it could be our competition, it could be practice. And during that practice or the same things, training, that covers performance window, what we need to maintain and upkeep our energy and our effort. And then the critical amount of time that we have, which is about 45 minutes to an hour beyond the competition or the training session or the practice. So that's that kind of middle section, or that next window of nutrition that I'd like to focus on. And then at the top, I think, to peek it out and what really finishes off is the recovery side of nutrition, because after we go very hard and we push our bodies physically, there's going to be residual effects to that. There's going to be some things that are not so wanted, not so nice, that make us sore and take us longer to be able to do the same thing over. And all these are related to one another. So let's go into core nutrition and break it down even further. These are general concepts. This is the point of supplementing. And obviously, when I'm talking about core nutrition, mostly in Advocare, I'm talking about our wellness line. And the goal is to fill in the nutritional gaps. Okay, it's really to plug those and to make sure that we're keeping all of our needs, our pools full. And so I have daily needs here that you can see, and what RDA, RDI stands for is the recommended daily amounts or recommended dietary intake or some of those things. And so, you might get asked at times, why does somebody need 400% of the RDR, RDI, and vitamin B and the B vitamins? And the answer is because these RDAs and RDIs, these standards are very, very minimal. They're really set there to the minimal standard not to get sick or not to get rickets or scurvy, that's really what these were set for. They are not set to measure what we need for optimal wellness. And when you're dealing with athletes, that gap is very big. We need a lot more, well above the RDAs, RDIs, and RDRs for optimal wellness for an athlete, because they expend so much energy. Also, you can see proper GI balance here. Our gastrointestinal tract is really the place where we obviously digest food and our immune system's there, and that's where a lot of inflammation takes place. And so we need to really have a good balance in our GI tract of productive bacteria and some of the things that we need there so that we can truly absorb more of the nutrition from both food and supplements. Core nutrition improves the body's homeostasis. That is just the optimal level that the optimal environment for the body to function at its highest. That's the homeostasis of the body. And when we deviate too far from that optimal environment, that's when we start getting into a lot of problems. That's when we start to experience breakdown. So by just filling in these gaps and plugging these holes, we can keep our body in line with the environment it operates best in. And then you can see also that core nutrition is going to lower susceptibility to disease. It's going to help us sustain energy throughout the day. We're going to stay balanced with our thinking, and most importantly, I think, reduce inflammation. Going into that performance nutrition window, to break that down, nutrient timing is huge, guys, because with supplementation, we can time up exactly when we want critical nutrients to go into the body. And that's hard to do with food because it takes a lot of different time to digest different foods. So, it's not something that we can control necessarily. So that's one benefit. Supplementation also lessens problems associated with very hard training. Nobody wants to go into a very hard lift on a full stomach, but we need to fuel up our body before we ask it to do work. So a lot of that fueling takes place and a lot of that loading of energy takes place before training. But if you go too many, more than an hour and a half without some type of food or nutrient source, okay, your workout's going to suffer. And if your stomach's full and you train very hard, you know that the alkalinity in your blood or your pH is going to drop, and that's going to cause you to get sick. Okay, you're going to be near the trash can. So supplementation can really help in that regard. It really helps with reducing the catabolic effect of training. When you train, it's really a catabolic effect. And that means tear down. The opposite of that is anabolic, and that's rebuild or grow. But when you train, you're really in a catabolic state. So you're tearing down, and it's all the things that you've done before, during, and after that start that rebuild process. Obviously, when we tear something down, we're making it, we're putting it through stress so it can become better. And effort matters here. So supplements can improve, lessen the actual tear down, how far your body gets torn down, and it can start to improve the recovery time and process from that point. And it certainly then improves performance, strength, muscle function, and energy levels. And then the last window, guys, is really recovery nutrition. Okay, and so this is all of the things that we want to get rid of, okay, that are a residual, that are left over, okay, not like our income. We love that, but the residual effect of training is oftentimes negative. Okay, we have a lot of free radicals in the blood. We have a lot of higher cortisol levels, which is a stress hormone, lactic acid and lactate, and these things that make us sore and make us immobile and some of those things. So we want to get rid of this residual. And so what some of these products, and there are a few, Advocare has a lot of products that cross over in a few different lines that contribute to recovery, and certainly antioxidants, that's why I have a lot of fruit here, are great for this. So reduce inflammation. Inflammation is really the number one problem for most people in their body is that they have inflammation everywhere, and that creates a lot of roadblocks to feeling great, performing great, recovering great. Reduce free radicals, lower cortisol levels. We've got to get those cortisol levels lowered. Reduce muscle soreness and pain, and really decrease the time it takes for muscles to regrow, repair, and some of those things. So let me cover this real quick, and then we'll get into what I think are the 3 age levels. A lot of times, I know our 24-day challenge is amazing, and it's the way that 80% of the people or more come into Advocare, and it's a great way to reset someone's system and to do all these tremendously healthy benefits. But is it right for athletes? Well, certainly it's going to improve digestion and absorption and all the other things associated in the benefits of the 24-day challenge, but there are some risks and challenges to prescribing that 24-day challenge. One of those is that an athlete who's training very hard, or possibly a triathlete or a marathon runner, or somebody who engages in a lot of caloric, their metabolic rate is very high, it might be very difficult to give them enough calories to support their activity. And it could be any athlete. And so that, not that the 24-day challenge is based off restriction, it's not, but it's just that there's so much appetite control and there's so many things going on that we might not be able to get enough calories in the athlete. They may experience muscle loss. They may experience very low energy. And so, and that's going to affect their sleep, their recovery time, their mental outlook. They may get very irritable, or they may get very depressed. Okay. And that's going to lead to poor performance. So it takes, excuse me, it takes a little bit more know-how to work an athlete through a 24-day challenge. And the off season is probably more appropriate when they're trying to start a training cycle with lots of nutrition and lots of supplementation. But you can see I've kind of highlighted just the 10-day cleanse. A lot of times athletes will go through a 10-day cleanse, and certainly not in a preseason or a competitive season or in a competition season, or a championship season, I should say, because they just can't experience such potential variances in how their body's going to react. Okay, so if you're going to work with athletes, a lot of times, especially at elite level, a 10-day cleanse is certainly appropriate before going on to some other things, but we got to make sure that it's not, in the middle of two-a-days if I'm a football player, in the middle, a month out from a big run for a marathon or triathlete. Those are just examples of what I'm talking about. So let's go through, let's go back. Let's go through youth athlete nutrition, and let's go ages 12 and up. And I got to, there's some points I need to touch on real quick, guys, that I just have to get out there. Okay, this information is not from Advocare Corporate or representative of corporate in any way. These are really my opinions, and they're based off of product knowledge that I have or that I've experienced in lots of trials and usage, and it's what I've done in the past. And, there are certainly other good products out there. There are amazing products out there. Some that you're not going to see on here are O2 Gold. Phenomenal product. Could be used in all three of these. Or I should say really the high school and the elite athlete, probably not the youth athlete, but the VO2 Prime Bar and Pro 20, and there's a lot of good products. Okay, again, this is just, I can only cover so much in a short time, and this is what I've done in the past. This to me is the optimal usage of the products. Okay, now if you're looking for product details and ingredients, then I really want you to refer to your product pages on your microsite. And you get to those, guys, by clicking on the image of any product, okay? And then you'll see a little link under there, and you can click product page, and it'll open up everything you'd ever want to know, ingredients, who it's for, uses, and it doesn't behoove you to talk to people as if you're a bionutritionist or a top expert surgeon or medical professional if you're not, okay? And I'm not. Being the best trained distributor base in direct sales means not making claims that we shouldn't. It means really sharing success stories and relevant information that can be understood, and knowing where and who to get that information from if you don't have it. Okay, and that can be from our SciMed board or a more knowledgeable Advocare coach or the internal means to get information that are through Advocare, okay? So I'm going to stay on the periphery with these products that I recommend and the regimens for that exact reason. Okay, and just the last thing I want to say is there are plenty of factors, that will play a role in things like weight gain or loss, strength gains, body fat reduction, endurance, conditioning levels, and those are really primarily the dietary choices and caloric intake, as well as the training methods and intensity and effort through that training, okay, as well as some genetic factors. So I'm really approaching this from a base needs, a fueling needs, a training and recovery support type angle. And so meaning that really from a supplementation standpoint, recommendations here will support athletes and make a measurable impact, but will not solely determine success in any of those goals that I mentioned before. So I wanted to get that out there for you guys. So when I look at a youth athlete, ages 12 and up, I think, and as you can see, what I've done is I've listed 1, 2, 3, 4 in order of what I think is the priority in terms of importance. I think the wellness products provide the most important thing to address first, that core nutrition in a young athlete. I think the active products are really secondary. The performance products are close to the active. They're a close second, but I have them listed third here. And then the trim products would be fourth. So if you're looking at a budget, obviously you have to include the products that you see towards the top earlier on in the prescription. And you know, if budget's not an issue, then this would be a fully well-rounded approach. And just two products that you see there that I have highlighted and kind of arrowed up because I think they're really important and they're not found in the wellness line. I think Rehydrate, the Rehydrate powder is really important for the youth athlete because it provides critical amino acids and it provides more than just hydration. Uh, you know, a lot of times youth athletes don't get enough protein. So those amino acids are important. And catalyst with the glutamine and again, the amino acid complex of catalyst, the formulation of it, those branched chain amino acids, those critical amino acids, which are building blocks of protein, are really important. So I've got those moved up towards the top of this menu. Okay, and those are really the products that I've used with youth athletes. And you can see, you know, a lot of you have probably taken a screenshot of this already. I've left it up there. And so what the regimen can look like is something like this. You know, this is a regimen that I've written out for a youth athlete. And this will be up here for a second. So I'm sure, you know, some of you guys want to screenshot this. But again, you know, this is kind of a breakdown, color coded of, you know, take this before breakfast. I like to get that probiotic in there and get that good flora in the gut. Spark is something that is a parental decision. Caffeine, you know, I give my kids Spark. That's my parental decision. Some parents don't think caffeine is good for their child. I'm not going to get into that debate. But, you know, take the following with breakfast. I like getting that core nutrition in at breakfast time because those need to be taken with food. I've got some recommendations here for being able to take the following before, during, or after workouts, practice, competition, or when hydration is needed, and that's Rehydrate. I've got Spark listed here. Again, that's optional based on parental thoughts. I don't see any problem with caffeine. Take the following before, during, or after workouts, practice, competition, where energy is needed. I love to mix muscle gain and post-workout recovery together. I've got a scoop of each because we've got to be careful with how much protein in grams we're giving young athletes. But I like to mix those together. Post-workout has a great ability to start that recovery process and, you know, repair and muscle gains, high quality, you know, protein, whey protein. So, and then I like to also get that core nutrition in at dinner. So I've kind of taken the recommendation here of core nutrition and I've split it. So we're not giving them too many pills there with breakfast. And then you can see that Catalyst is, you know, is an option. It can be put in those particular areas where I've got those lines to. And I've got that dotted line in there because taking Catalyst 3 times a day, while it's more than appropriate, it just depends on the physical maturity of a young athlete and how much muscle they have and how much muscle they want to support. So that's why a dotted line is kind of an option. Let's go to advanced athletes. So this is ages 16 and up. And, you know, what you see here is the same type of setup and list of what I think is important. I've got the performance products moved up here as the second most important layer, and I've got the actives a little bit behind. But you see I've got Rehydrate and Catalyst moved up. You can say, well, Eric, you didn't move Rehydrate up to the top priority. If it's based on budget, I might choose to use those other products ahead of Rehydrate and just ask an athlete to hydrate with water as best as possible every day. But I do love Rehydrate and what it provides. There's 2 new products that I've added for what I've done based on this athlete, or based on the age of the athlete and the demand, and you can see that in blue. So I've got that highlighted in blue. I've brought in BioCharge, which is a great caffeine-free energy source. It is a great product to help energy upkeep during a workout. It's a great product to reduce, you know, stressful hormone levels, keep them at bay, and it starts and reduces inflammation with powerful antioxidants and adaptogens. And then Rehydrate Gel is another one that I've added that you did not see in the youth script that I think is great. for very strenuous and intense activities. And you see, okay, what's the deal with the MNS Max 3? Obviously in MNS Max 3, that is a wellness system where most of those 4 core products are in there, plus a few others. But I am not a fan unless an athlete is trying to lose weight. If you've got an overweight offensive lineman or you've got someone who's trying to, lean out, then I may use MNS Max 3 and I just may add some extra things to it. I may add some extra fish oil or Amplify AT or whatever, but I'm going to get most of my core wellness in MNS Max 3 if I want to control their appetite for some reason. They're overeating or they need to lean out. Other than that, I like to pull out the individual players and use probiotic by itself and use Coreplex by itself and use Omegaplex by itself, okay? So I just wanted to clarify, you know, if I have an athlete who does not need appetite control, and I'm not trying to control that, I'm not using one of the 3 wellness systems, metabolic nutrition systems, to provide the core nutrition. I'm not doing that. And this is what an advanced athlete regimen might look like. This is actually a regimen that I've written out and used for many high school athletes and college athletes. And so someone's saying the slide did not change to 16 and up. Hopefully you guys are seeing the slides. If not, let me know, but they should be working. So this is what an advanced athlete script might look like, where you see take the following 30 minutes before breakfast, and it gives you a little bit of how to take it. You see I've got Catalyst in there for sure. Take the following with either breakfast or dinner. Here I'm just taking all the core nutrition either at breakfast or at dinner, but not at both. And I think an older athlete can metabolize and absorb all that nutrition at one time. I think that's fine. You can see that here with the advanced athlete, I've got Spark and Rehydrate as an option for both situations, and you can mix them together. I love to mix those 2 products together. I wouldn't have a problem doing that on the youth side too, but I have it this way because of, this is what I've done. So, and then you can see I've got a kind of a take the following 20 to 30 minutes before weight workouts. So I've got a pre-fuel up here because obviously, this type of athlete's going to lift much harder. And then I've got to take, the following immediately after workouts, practice, or competitions. And I've upped the amount of product, and I'm still going to mix muscle gain, post-workout recovery. 2 optional products that I really like here are Biotune. I think it's so important to use that product, and I would use it, where I put it at breakfast. Really tunes the body's cells. It really communicates and connects nutritionally with the body's cells and kind of gets them to operate correctly, more getting someone into that homeostatic environment. And it does a lot of other things. Read about the product. And then Rehydrate Gel. I think that the older athlete trains a lot, harder and would need immediate replenishment that the gels can provide. Really good solution there. They are a little bit higher in sugar than the powder, but they provide immediate replenishment. So I do like the gels there. And then let's look at the elite athlete. Okay, let's look at the guy who is going to the NFL Combine, or the guy who's in the professional leagues, or the gal who's an Olympian or whatever. And these are the scripts that I've used. This is what I like. You can see that I've added a few products and I've highlighted them in blue. I think Amplify AT is an awesome product with antioxidants for all the things we talked about. To improve recovery time, reduce inflammation. On the performance side, I still think that's the second most important group of products. You can see I've got either Muscle Fuel or Mass Impact. Muscle Fuel is really for increasing and improving the length of power output. Mass Impact is for your guys looking to gain strength and your offensive lineman, your defensive lineman type, your power lifter type. Notice the difference between those 2. Just read up on them. But either one of those, I like Arginine Extreme to vasodilate and open up the circulatory system with that product and allow blood flow. And then Nighttime Recovery, fabulous product for helping muscles refuel at night over a long period of time and reduce soreness. And then you can see I've still got Rehydrate and Catalyst moved up. I don't need to re-explain metabolic nutrition again. It's the same concept or thought process there. And hopefully that was enough time to take a screenshot. And then this is what the regimen might look like. Very similar to the advanced athlete, except there's more product. Obviously, if you look at the 20 to 30 minute before weight workout window, that's where we're going to really fuel up with the mass impact or muscle fuel product. And I like to mix arginine with those, and then take your catalyst pills with that drink or with Spark. That really should say with the mass impact or arginine extreme drink there. But and then you can see I like to take biocharge in the post-workout regimen with an elite athlete because I think it's really important to start that repair process and reducing that inflammation. And then the nighttime recovery pills are taken right before we go to bed. Same optional products in an elite athlete nutrition cycle. So with that, guys, I'm gonna just encourage you to continue to increase your product knowledge. I would encourage you to um, know your product pages and know where to find the information and know how to use your frequently asked questions in terms of product troubleshooting and some of those things. And as always, we've got to be very careful out there in what claims we make. Okay, so we are a tremendously well-trained distributor base, and we take great pride in that. And again, we do have tremendous nutritional products to fuel people and to help them perform. And so I hope you found this helpful, and I hope that each one of you got enough time to screenshot these and use them on yourself, see what you think, and I hope they're helpful. This webinar will be up and recorded and the replay available, so get your teammates on it who did not attend it live, and just keep in mind, at Advocare, we build champions. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Good night.